Hey everyone, I guess we are live now, right?
Exactly. I think we're live. I think we're just going to wait a few moments for more people to arrive to
I
grab.
think there are a few house cleaning items we can go through. First of all, there is questionnaire right for you, so we know you better. Secondly, you can ask questions, and I think I'll repeat it again a little later. But you can ask questions right in your chat box at the right, and we will most likely go through them after the webinar, but maybe we will be able to respond to some of them in the real time. Also, probably we will invite some of you to the stage to ask the questions, so be ready with your microphone and maybe in camera. And lastly, I think we will share the recording with all of you. So we will go through the presentation pretty quickly. There is a lot of material, pretty dense today, actually. So if you miss anything, no worries. We'll send the recording. Doran, did I miss anything?
I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can send them in the chat next to the main window here. And as Peter mentioned, there is a poll. Feel free to participate right now or whenever. And then we'll start in a few seconds.
Yeah, and I think before we start and while we are waiting, we can go through agenda quickly. And basically, what we will cover today is the types of self-employment that are available to you before you register, or for some of we know that some of you already registered, so maybe we will cover the base and repeat some of the obvious things or things that you could miss right in time. Secondly, of course, we will cover how to actually to become a self-employed and the details of the registration and details of the process. Then we will cover what happens right after that. What do you know immediately? Because there's a lot to know. We won't be able to cover all of it, so we will cover just the first few like weeks, month, the first year. We will touch taxes a little bit, of course. We can talk about every tax declaration for hours. So we'll just have an overview of them. And we will also cover the key tools that can help you a lot along the journey, that automate some of the work or help you save money along the way.
Perfect. Okay, I think we can start with our a small introduction. I'll start immediately, and then we'll leave the stage to you. Basically, my name's Dorian. I work in the partnerships department at Qonto, based here in Berlin. And I deal with strategic partnerships such as Norman. And I had the pleasure to set up this partnership together with Peter. And I've seen the presentation. I know what you're about to see. I think you're up for a treat. I was a freelancer myself once. I did not know all these things. There's a lot of tips and tricks, things to avoid and things to look out for. So I hope you have a good time. And leave it up to you now, Peter.
Thanks, Duran. Yeah, I was a serial entrepreneur. Right now, I'm building Norman. It's an AI accounting platform with the goal to automate tax filing specifically for self-employed in Germany. But before that, I ran a few businesses in the US and in Singapore, and everywhere it's the same accounting, taxes, banking problems. So I had a lot of personal wounds and problems I wanted to solve with Norman, and a lot of experience that I love to share during such events. Should we start? Because we have a lot today.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Cool. Let's jump right into it. Today, we will only cover self-employment. So if you're looking to open a GmbH, UG, or some other legal entity type, it won't be super relevant, but still some bits will be useful. But if you are looking to open and register self-employment, there are a few options that are available. The standard option is to become a sole trader or Gewerbetreuende. It's like a standard, and some of you will be eligible to become a freelancer and a Freiberufler. What's the difference? First of all, Gewerbe should register in Gewerbeamts. It's a one-time registration, and it's the only thing that you'll have to pay for. It's around 15 to 30 euros. And then every year you will have an additional tax called Gewerbesteuer. You don't need to care about it if you plan to have profits less than 24,500 euros, but it's an additional obligation on your side. Of course, most of you have the instant question, how can I become a freelancer? And the answer is you can't become a freelancer. You are either a freelancer, a Freiberufler, or you're not. There is an official, of course, in Germany, there's an official catalog of professions of people who can apply to be a Freiberufler. The short list is on the right. Obviously, the list is larger. Some of the professions mentioned can be both a Freiberufler or a Gewerbe, depending on what exactly do they do. But a common explanation of the difference can be you provide an intellectual work, so you don't sell physical items. If you sell physical items, 99%, you're already a Gewerbetreuende. The results of your work are unique. So if you sell digital items, think of, I don't know, music, books, software actually licenses, you will also become a Gewerbe. So it doesn't matter is it physical or online. If you sell standardized products, then you're a Gewerbe. And usually freelancers should have a special education. And of course, only if your profession is in the catalog, official German catalog, then you are Freiberufler, otherwise you are Gewerbetreuender. So everyone is Gewerbetreuender, but some of you can apply to be a freelancer and not to go through the Gewerbeamt and Gewerbesteuer mess. Also, there is a term, maybe some of you already heard about it, maybe some not, but there is a term called, let's see the question, called Kleinunternehmer, which translates to a small business. And actually, both Gewerbe and freelancers can be Kleinunternehmer. What it means is that you don't need to charge VAT on your invoices, so your actual bills are 19% lighter for your customers. It's voluntarily, so you're not obligated. If you're only starting out, you're not obligated to become a Kleinunternehmer. Most of you will want to register as Kleinunternehmer, but it's not recommended to be, it's not always better to be a Kleinunternehmer. There are a lot of cases where actually applying to charge VAT will be more profitable to you. Oops. So is there any choice, actually? And the answer is no, because if you start and you expect to earn, I don't know, 50,000 revenue in your first year, you are not eligible to be a Kleinunternehmer. And again, if you want to open Etsy store or develop a software program and sell it yourself, then also you can't be a Freiberufler, you definitely will be a Gewerbe. So actually your business defines who you can become, not your choice or your wants. Let's jump into the registration. Actually, surprising for Germany to register as self-employed is easy, kind of fast and free, which is strange. So if you're a Freiberufler, you only need to submit a single form called Fragebogen zur Steuererfassung to the Finanzamt, and that's it. You'll receive your business tax number called Steuernummer via classic post mail in your mailbox, and that's it. You're registered for business. Moreover, you can actually start your business activities before you get this tax number and even before you register. So you can start thinking about it, start working, maybe even start working with the first client before you actually register. This form is more of a notification and not asking Finanzamt for permission. And for Gewerbe, when you file this Fragebogen form, you should also go to Gewerbeamt and file their Gewerbeanmeldung form as well. Talking about the form is a little lengthy, but actually very simple. There are just a lot of regular questions like your name, last name, date of birth, where do you live, what was your personal tax number, did you have business before? So the questions are pretty simple, but there are a lot of them. German bureaucracy, what did you expect? I want to highlight two key places in the form. First of all, the form is, you should fill it out in German. Qonto provides, you can submit this form through Qonto for free, and there is an English option available there, but don't forget to respond to every question in German because an actual German person at Finanzamt will look at this form and read it and assign you a tax number based on that. So the two key fields are, there is on the business tab in the Qonto's form, describe your job. This is the first key field because these fields will decide, are you a Freiberufler or Gewerbe? And there you should provide somewhat descriptive explanation of what you do, around 1 to 2 sentences. So digital marketing consultant isn't enough. Ideally, you would say, I will create digital marketing strategies for other businesses in Germany. This is somewhat ideal explanation of what you do. It provides a little bit of detail, and based on that, Finanzamt understands that you needed a lot of experience for that. It's an intellectual and unique work that you will do. So yes, you can be a Freiberufler. That's the first key field. And the second key field is related to the Kleinunternehmer thing that we just mentioned. The revenue threshold to be a Kleinunternehmer is 25,000 euros per year. And Finanzamt asks you to estimate how much will you earn this year and next year. And the catch here is that if you, for example, register 1st of July, you don't have 25,000, you actually only have 12,500. And Qonto's registration form do these calculations for you. So it will check the date of your registration and how much left do you have for this Kleinunternehmer threshold. And it will advise you, can you apply to it or not? Also here in this place, the form will ask you, do you want to get a VAT number or not? And I always recommend to get a VAT number, because if you get a VAT number, you're not obligated to file VAT declarations or charge VAT. You still can be a Kleinunternehmer with VAT number. But if you have a client in the EU, like in France, in Poland, somewhere, then you will need a VAT number for the invoices. So get it early and don't later wait for another letter from Finanzamt for weeks just to serve your future clients. Yeah, and the overview of the process, that's it. You can start working immediately if you get a client or you want to prepare for your business, start making small investments, buy some equipment, or create ads, write some materials. You submit the applications. For Freiberufler, it's only one. Fragebogen zur steuerliche Erfassung. You can do this through Qonto or through Elster. Both are free. You will wait 4 to 8 weeks on average for your Steuernummer to arrive. It will arrive through post. You will wait some more weeks actually for the VAT number. It will arrive via a separate letter, and then you can start issuing your first invoices and submit your first tax declarations. And we will cover some of it right now. So what's next? What should you do next? First of all, for those of you who already ran businesses before, know that every business transaction should have a supporting document for your revenue, for the funds that you get from your clients. You have to create invoices. And for these invoices to be legally compliant, you should fill a lot of details about you, about your client, about the services or products that you provide, and also your bank IBAN and your Steuernummer or VAT ID, depending on country of your client. You can do this through Qonto as well, or through other invoicing software. Secondly, as I mentioned, for every transaction, you should have a document, and you need to store these documents for 8 years. So Finance Amt can come to you at any moment, like in 5 years or wherever, and ask, hey, remember 2025? You had these expenses here. Can you please explain to us what was that? And for that, you will have to, obligated actually, to send the supporting documents like receipts or invoices and provide some explanation. These were business meetings, or we had to buy a lot of advertisement for the business back then. And the perfect way to do this is to actually store the document right when transaction happened, or right when you receive the invoice. So when you receive invoice, download it and store it somewhere. When you got a receipt, for example, in a cafe, instantly photo it. Of course, doing it with Qonto will be much faster, but just store these documents right when they happen, because you will lose them. I can guarantee you. I do this all the time. I mean, losing documents. So don't repeat my mistakes. Please store the documents right when something happened. And when you start your business, you will have to do accounting. The good news is that as self-employed, you can do accounting based on actual money movement flow. So when the transaction actually happened, doesn't matter if it was revenue or expense, that's when you need to report it, not when you issue the document. And the simple example here would be, so you provided a service for a client in October. Your service is ended. You create a document, an invoice in November, and you send the invoice to your client. What happens next? Client doesn't pay. Doesn't matter if they are bad, evil, or they just forgot, they missed the invoice because they don't follow my advice from the previous slide. It doesn't matter, but they are not paying. You're chasing them, and then they finally pay. Hooray! They pay in February. And this payment you should attribute to the next year, to this February thing, not to when actually the service was provided October, or to when actually you created the supported document in November. That's actually neat, because first of all, you can use your bank records to be a proxy for your accounting. And secondly, most importantly, you don't pay taxes on the money you haven't received, because otherwise you would have to pay income tax for the revenue that you actually didn't receive. So you don't have the money to pay the tax. That's not of your concern if you are self-employed. Yeah. Talking about taxes, there are a lot of them. So first of all is VAT. You add 19.7 or 0%. Most of you will add 19% on top of your prices. And these money are not yours. These 19% of the VAT, you should instantly forget about them, instantly somewhere deduct or wire to some other pocket, because you won't owe them. You owe them to the Finance Amt instantly. Also, all self-employed actually are liable for the income tax. There is no dedicated business tax or corporate tax for self-employed. You go into the same bucket as employed people or some other categories. For Gewerbe, there is an additional Gewerbe tax, and this Gewerbe tax is unique in terms of that it's the only tax that's different based on the city, municipality where you live it. So in Berlin and Munich, there are different rates for the Gewerbe tax, and there are some other taxes or social contributions. Think of health insurance that you have to cover yourself if you are not employed, and social responsibility tax and some other payments. So there are some of them. Let's quickly cover them one by one. I won't go into the 100% of the details, just mention the most important things. With VAT, there are two types of reporting. There is a regular reporting that happens either quarterly or monthly, and there is an annual reporting where you collect all of these 4 or 12 declarations, plus provide some updates on them, plus fill out some other questions and report, like send this big reporting. And what's important here is that you can actually get a refund from the finance arm, because you not only pay 18% on the revenue that you got, but you also can charge finance arm for the 19% that you paid on your business expenses. So think of buying a laptop, and you paid, like, the laptop, it was MacBook Air, costed 1,000 euros. With VAT, it's 1,190. These 190 you can actually charge back from the finance arm, so you actually offset your revenue VAT with this. It's called input tax. It's Vorsteuer. And if your expenses were much higher than the revenue, then you actually can get money back from the finance arm for this VAT thing specifically. Secondly, with income tax, an important part here is there are a few important things. First, some of you finance arm will ask you to prepay this tax once a quarter. It's up to finance arm to decide. You can't choose. If they think that you need to prepay, they will ask you, and they will actually tell you how much to prepay. So they will tell, hey, please pay us quarterly this sum of money. You only need to declare this income tax and a declaration once a year. And this income tax declaration will include all your income as a private individual. So if you have a job and you're employed, this income will go into the income tax declaration. If you invest in stock or crypto, this income should also go into this declaration. If you're self-employed, this income should go into this declaration. If you lease your apartment, this income should go into this declaration. So actually, all of your income is collected, summarized, and you pay income tax on all of this income, not just like part of it for the self-employment, part of it for the actual employment. No, you just collect all of your income and pay 0 to 45% of it. We will skip this, maybe get back during the questions. There are some other things. First, if you plan to have customers in the EU, France, Poland, Portugal, wherever, you will also most likely have to file the Zusammenfassende form. The good news is just a form. There is no tax associated with it. The bad news, you have additional form to file. Secondly, Gewerbesteuer that we mentioned, for Gewerbe from you also have to file this single Gewerbesteuererklärung and do it once a year. And you'll have some social contributions, health insurance, maybe pension for some of you who would want that, maybe professional insurances, and social tax. An important thing to remember is all these annual declarations that I mentioned, VAT, Gewerbe, income tax, have the same deadline, and the deadline is July 31st, which is an amazing news because, first of all, you have 7 months to report your last year, because in Germany, the tax year is actually calendar year. So if you start today, your annual deadline will be July 31st of the next year. So this year you don't need even to care about tax reporting, which is great. And secondly, it's a single date. So all of your declarations, VAT, income, and Gewerbe will go under this date. You don't need to remember a few of these thresholds, deadlines. It's just a single deadline for everything, except for regular VAT declarations, some other stuff. But for the annuals, it's this deadline. So cross it out in your calendars. And the nice thing about starting your self-employment, starting your business, is that you can actually invest in your business and deduct these investments from the taxes. So if you have a home office, there are 2 types of how you can deduct. If you have a dedicated room with the door and stuff, you can actually deduct like the share of the area of this room from your rent. So if it's like 10% of the share of the apartment area, then you can deduct 10% of your rent as a business expense. The corresponding amount of utilities, think of water, electricity, can be deducted as well. If you need some furniture like a chair that I sit right now, a desk, or some other stuff for your home office, or of course a real office, these are deductible. Internet, of course, and some small office supplies, utensils, pencils, all of this stuff is tax deductible. Also, don't forget that work equipment also tax deductible. So think of a laptop, a monitor, printer. With phones and tablets, it's a little bit more complicated because some of these things you can actually use as a personal item, and you have to understand what is your personal use amount, share, and deduct only the professional use amount. But wherever you still can deduct those. And of course, super specialized though. If you're a photographer, you can deduct camera, lenses, microphones, everything that you need. There are a lot of options to deduct your commute. So you can lease a car, you can pay for the rent of your private car, or vice versa. You can buy a business car and lease it to you as a private person. There are a lot of options. You can deduct public transport, bicycle. You can take a bicycle in a lease as a business lease. A ton of options to deduct your travel and commute. Of course, education related to your profession is tax deductible. So think of courses. If this webinar would be paid at some point, this could be also tax deductible. Software, think of Notion, Google Workspace. And on the note of software, advertisements are also deductible. So if you need to advertise on Instagram, on Google, somewhere else, advertisement costs are, of course, tax deductible. Everything related to business banking. So if you have a Qonto subscription, or there was a foreign exchange commission for the changing the currencies, or some other bank commissions, they're tax deductible as a business. And you can also deduct some travel and some visits to cafe and restaurants, but please be very careful. Legally, you can deduct them under certain rules, but Finansamt really don't like when you do so. So do it only when you actually had your business travel or business meeting happening. I will quickly mention a couple of mistakes, and I'll leave it to Dorian. So basically, I constantly see two types of people. First, there are people who are afraid to deduct anything, and they think that it's bad that they deduct or pay less taxes, or that Finansamt will look at them suspiciously. But no, it's actually your right to deduct your business expenses from taxes. Moreover, Finansamt don't want your micro business to starve. They want you to grow, and then they will get a bigger share of your profits. So they actually, Finansamt wants you to grow. So please invest in your business. But also on the opposite side, there are a lot of people who are trying to squeeze every penny from tax deductions. And even if you can prove that this 10th visit to the coffee shop was absolutely necessary during the week, you will spend so much time communicating with Finansamt that I'm not sure it's these €5 were worth it. And like trying to prove, arguing, sending checks, sending some business client photos and stuff, it can be not worth it. So the biggest piece of advice from me here is learn what you can deduct, broadly speaking, and deduct everything that applies to you. Not try to go like into one specific category and exploit it to the very last cent. As I mentioned, please keep records and documents of what's happening, because yes, you register today, your tax obligation will happen next year, but next year you won't be able to remember what was this coffee shop visit. Was it like a date or a business meeting? Where's the receipt? Why was the meeting even needed? So you won't be able to remember anything in a year, hell, even in a few months. So please record it right when it happens, so you don't have any troubles in the future. And yeah, that's it from my side. Basically, as a summary, to start your self-employment, you need to submit a free form. You can do this through Qonto. Secondly, start recording your expenses, your investments in the business, and store the documents. And then please don't forget to file your taxes and send tax declarations on time, because there are, of course, penalties for late filings, or there will be angry letters from Finansamt because you missed a tax declaration. Don't go into that. Just do it on time. You have plenty of time. 7 months is more than enough. I think that's it.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, as mentioned in the beginning, we are definitely going to answer your questions at the end. So feel free to add more questions to yeah, the little window on the side. So yeah, there are a few ways to do this, and we believe if you use both the solution that Norman has come up with and of course Qonto, you will not only save a lot of time but also money in the long run. So we just wanted to show you a few ways of how we do that and how you basically do it once you use the product. So let's go to the next slide here.
Oops.
Basically, yes. So the main questions that self-employed people always have in the beginning is, do I need a business account? Is this something I need to do? And the answer is, it's not legally required in Germany. However, it's highly recommended. Just, Peter mentioned it. If any of you have done a tax declaration in their life, and I'm guessing you have, there's always the problem that it's kind of hard to separate private from business if you have everything in one place. And this sounds like a little thing, but it's a huge thing. It's not only receipts, it's also invoices, and then with Qonto, you can store your clients to your lists of clients or the services that you offer. You have it all in one place. It'll save you so much time, and it'll do some of the work automatically as you work, as you do what you actually want to do, because you don't want to do taxes. Everyone knows that. You don't want to do accounting, bookkeeping. You want to do what your profession is. So I'm going to show you in our product. We have a test account. You can see what it looks like in Qonto. One other thing to mention here is some, or actually most of the banks, the traditional banks and others, digital banks, don't actually want you to use the personal bank account for business services. So, there's several ways of how they can see if you're doing it. They can track basically your transfers and so on. So if you want to play it safe, it's usually somewhere in the fine print in the terms and conditions. If you want to play it safe, you can just get a business account, and yeah, it's worth spending a tiny little bit of money into a high quality product. So here's some more reasons why. Let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah, just a few things that are worth mentioning. Basically, the invoicing part is also part of our solution. And all the expenses. To have an overview, as mentioned, you'll see it in a second. You'll get a German IBAN, which gives your business a very professional touch if you want to do it in Germany. It always comes with a free MasterCard, actually several if you want to, virtual and physical, and instant payments, as in like Sofortüberweisung is also included. What else? There are a lot of tools that usually with traditional banks you have to pay extra for. They're just included. The receipt management, we mentioned a couple of times. Basically, you have to imagine you pay for something in a cafe, you take the picture with the Qonto app on your phone, no matter what kind of phone that is, and it automatically tracks it in your account. So it will also then synchronize it with the transaction that has been made, which is amazing. And yeah, it will give you the right tag and so on. So everything's going to be in order. And one other thing to mention is this whole process of opening an account is online. Sounds like nothing, but if you have an account with a traditional bank, you probably ran to a post office or something other incredible for the year 2025. Yeah, here you can do it in just a few minutes. So one last slide, I think, just to give you the overview of the main reasons why self-employed love us. Qonto. So I mentioned the invoice management. You can also receive invoices and pay them in Qonto, so you don't have to send them or connect them to your email account, whatever. It goes straight to the email address that you put in. Also, e-invoices, some of you might have heard this, has become a standard as of this year. For self-employed, this is not a big deal yet because we're in a transfer period. So this only applies to bigger companies with bigger annual revenues. However, this will become a standard in 2 years, I believe, for self-employed as well. So be aware. This is automatically also included in Qonto, so you can already receive them and send them. And yeah, the receipts I already mentioned. And the last thing here, bookkeeping. If you want to use a tool, and there's a few mentioned here that are common in Germany, but we have other integrated options as well. And I'm just going to mention it here too. Norman does have a tool to declare your taxes if you are self-employed. And there's a discount if you are a Qonto customer. So feel free to check that out too. Okay, so as promised, I'm just going to show you what this looks like in our product. So here we have, I believe you can see my screen now.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So what we got here is the main overview. This is what it looks like. It doesn't have to be all black, but it's become very popular. As mentioned, there can be several accounts, like sub accounts, that you can have in your account. This is interesting if you want to keep things separate for paying salaries if you're a big business, but also if you want to keep certain incomes and outgoing outflows separate. Then this is amazing. As you can see, there's not a lot of test money that's going in and out right now in this test account. This is not real. So just so you know, if some things don't look perfect, this is a different, an entirely different environment. Something I want to show you. There's tasks here, so the system will remind you of things that are missing. For example, if there's a reimbursement missing, or this is obviously for a bigger company, but then a very common task is a receipt is missing. So yeah, this is obviously something you don't want to for bookkeeping. So I'm going to show you here what that looks like. So the attachment here, if it is attached, it's this little green checkered check mark, and this is an example of what then the invoice looks like. Yeah, so for example, something that in my personal bank account I wish I had is just to click on something like method was a transfer, and then apply. And then you will see all the transfers that you have. Also, another thing that most bank accounts don't have is to go back in history further than, I think, 6 months. Here, it's an indefinite past, basically from the moment you open the account. Yeah, whatever here, attachment is missing. So this is a big thing if you want to make sure you have everything you need for your declaration or other things. And yeah, this is something you can do. You can export all these things. This is amazing. If you work with a different program, if you prefer looking at it in, I don't know, Google Sheets, go for it. You can download it here if you don't want people to see it. As mentioned, we have an app for the phone as well, which is, yeah, when it comes to receipts, this is very important. Another thing I wanted to show you was the accounts. I mentioned it. This is an overview of all the accounts you can have. They all have their own unique IBAN number, which is great. And it's also great for savings. If you want to add one, it's really just a click and you can do so. So if I were to do this here and I put in a name and I click on this button, it's created. Just for sake of keeping this test account tidy, I won't do it. But you saw it here. External accounts is another thing we offer. So most of you have a different account as well for other reasons. You can connect those bank accounts here, and then you can see all the money flows in one place. So a big advantage. And then there's the cards. Basically, we offer a couple of different cards that you can use. Right here, you see the ones that are active. If you want to create a card and the card is physical, we have 3 different options. This one, as mentioned, is the one card. It's always included, it's free. You will see here, these are the main differences that you have. So it's basically up to how much transactions you want to do per month. So our basic card has 20,000 euros per month, and the X, which is our biggest, premium card, you can transfer up to 200K a month. Plus, there are premium services. Most of you probably have heard of these services like airport lounges and such. We could click on this just to see what it looks like. So yeah, design, you can choose different design, color. You can choose whether your name and the number are on it. And then you can choose from which account the money should be coming from. So let's say it's the main one, and then the holder of the card. Basically, these are the people that in this test account are already listed. If you want to choose someone else or add someone, that's also possible. In this case, I'm going to choose the admin of this account. You choose the address that you want to send the physical card to. This in this case, the Brezenkönig GmbH has its headquarters in Paris, but you can also choose a private address if this is an employee that works from home, etc. You choose your PIN immediately here, and that's it. Later on, you can choose all the use cases for this card. This is also really cool if you want to make sure you can't use this card on the weekend for private use or something. That's cool. Virtual cards. So yeah, those cards that you just saw, the physical ones, it takes like 2 to 3 days for them to arrive. If you want the metal card, the premium X card, might take up to 4 days, I think, because they actually have to be created for you. And yeah, so we have the virtual cards. These are instantly available. You click on the button and they're there. We have 3 different types. This one, the ads card, we created based on feedback from our users. Basically, if you want to place ads online for social media or Google, etc., it happens so that you need a lot of money in a short amount of time. So this is a very common use case for people in digital marketing. So here you can spend up to $1 million per month per card. And yeah, same thing here as shown before. You choose where this is coming from. Okay, so that's for the cards. What else should we do? The invoices. I mentioned this. So basically, there are. This is the overview of invoices that either go outgoing, or the other ones are called supplier invoices here. So these are invoices that come from your customers. Yeah, you need to pay those. So let's see here. If you want to create an invoice, and this is super cool. I don't know. I've been a freelancer before. I used some, I don't even know, Google sheet or something to create this. It was pretty ugly. Here you can still you can customize a lot of things here. So apart from the due date and the amount of money that you are invoicing, you can also, by the way, switch from quote to invoice if you're just getting started with that client. And yeah, so customization, I mentioned it. Obviously, most people want their logo on the top, change the color, etc. If you want to, add your own TNCs at the bottom, you can do that. And other details that are usually mentioned on an invoice. So this is pretty cool. As mentioned, e-invoices are included. And then I mentioned the client list, also a very cool thing. Basically, bear with me here, client list. Yeah, if you get going with your business, you might just need a list as an overview of all your clients. So you can import, a file that you have been keeping somewhere else, maybe. This can be, CSV and so on. And it will go straight in here. I won't do that. Or you just do it manually. That's also possible. Yeah, keeps it all in one place. This is very useful. And you can do the same thing for your suppliers, people that you need to pay for something. And then also you can do this for your own products and services. So this is pretty cool. You don't have to look up what you used for every product or service that you've offered in the past. It will all be there, and you will save a lot of time. Same here. You can, if you have this in a different place, you can upload it. And yeah, so I think for this part, we can skip it now. Team, maybe not so relevant for you at the moment, but maybe as we're there, user management. If you decide to use a tax accountant, for example, you can give them access to the account via this option right here. And this is really cool. In case you want to, you can also give them access to, or the ability to transfer money, so to trigger payments. This is also really cool, and to access some of the files. Yeah, otherwise, if you have team members that you work with, if you decide you want to scale your company, you can obviously invite other people to be part of this account, and then you can change basically the roles that they have in the company. Yeah, as I said, we have 4 different roles. It's kind of like a hierarchy. The admin can add a manager, manager can add the basic manager, and so on. And then the access, gets less with every step. So, for example, you can decide whether they see the transactions, or how much money is on your account, and so on. Anything else I wanted to mention? I think the transactions, what's cool here, you can do that with up to 25 currencies. I think we work together with Wise. So you can also do this outside of the SEPA region and SWIFT region. And then, yeah, direct debits, if you need that. This is also super easy to set up. One other important thing to mention is, if you want to get paid, and you definitely want to, you have many options to do so. So apart from the invoices, you can also use the payment terminals that we're offering. So these little machines that you see in stores when you get a coffee, we offer 2 different kinds of those, one with a printer, one without. But what's also really cool, you can just use the app. And if you're like at a market or something, you just hold your phone out with the app on. People can tap their card or their phone right on your phone, and you get paid. That's pretty cool. And other than that, you can also set up a payment link, and the payment link you can send them by WhatsApp or whatever you use, and then people can pay you through there. I think it also generates a QR code, and yeah, so we want to make it as easy as possible for you to get paid, so that your business can scale. So I think for now, cash flow, maybe the last thing to mention here. Very new feature. As mentioned, this account doesn't have a lot of money going in and out at the moment because it's a test account, but it's really cool to forecast what you're going to be making throughout the year, what you are going to be losing throughout the year through the outflow, and you can play around with it, so you can move things back and forth just to like sort of simulate what your year might look like. And you can do this for any of the accounts, and by month, quarter, year. Okay, I think not to give you too much. Well, the last thing, obviously, I wanted to mention is integrations. There are, I think, 11,000 at this point. So you might get lost in here, but obviously we have one really cool integration called Norman to do your tax declaration. So yeah, might look into that. Obviously, we have other options too. If you work with Google or Dropbox, or automate your processes, feel free to look in here. Also, these integrations are online on the publicly on our website, so you can find them there too. So I think I'm going to stop talking about this and stop sharing the screen, and we'll take the remaining time to answer some of your questions, which maybe are mostly the ones I saw in the beginning are related to tax. So how should we do this? We start from the bottom.
I can start with some of them, and maybe you'll jump into others. So before we get into the questions, the first thing I would do is actually create a tax account on Qonto or somewhere else, and leave there around 30% of your revenue, because tax bills are always a surprise. So keep this money separate, not spend them. Otherwise, finance center will tell you, hey, you owe us 10,000 euros and you just don't have them because you didn't save them. So try saving for taxes a little bit before finance center will send you a letter. That would be an instant tip here. Okay, jumping into questions. I will go randomly, sorry. I saw a couple of interesting questions that I wanted to address early, and then I will just go to all others. I think I want to pronounce it correctly. Tyran Hart asked if she has different businesses, should she be, or he, actually, sorry, should this person be a Freiberufler or Gewerbe or both? And the question is graphic designer, but also knitwear designer. Should I be a Freiberufler or Gewerbe? And actually, this is an important question. So your business tax number is for the specific business line, meaning if you apply to be a software developer, Finansam gives you a tax number to be a software developer. If for some reason tomorrow you will open a coffee shop, you will need actually to submit another Fragebogen, get another tax number, and report on this business separately. So in your case, Taryn, I hope I get some of it correct. You need two tax numbers and to make two tax registrations, and keep these businesses separately. And yes, the first one can be a freelancer, a Freiberufler one, and then the second would be a Gewerbe, where you sell actual physical knitwear items. The second interesting question that I saw was from Joy, and it was, I'm a manager, tour manager for an artist. My main work is to travel. Can I tax deduct travel, flights, hotels, etc.? The quick answer is yes, absolutely you can. What I was trying to say is, first, your expenses should be relevant to your business. So my response would be a little bit different if you're a software engineer or, I don't know, systems architect, wherever, and you don't need to go to Maldives for business. That would be first. And second, you can actually have any business expenses you want if there is an actual business reason for them, and you can provide the confirmation for them. For most expenses, an invoice or receipt is enough. For cafes and for travel, you typically will need more, especially if finance asks questions. So ideally, what you would want to have for travel will be conference tickets. If you went for a conference, I know that it's not the case for Joy, but for most of us traveling for business. And for you, it will be like the performance dates, the tickets that you was invited, that you was traveling with the artist, maybe some photos with the artist, maybe some photos from the concert, notes, hotel stays, and your basically travel tickets and hotel stays should correspond with the schedule of these artists performing. That's an obvious thing. But if all of it works, then you have an absolute right to do so. I assume Finance Center will have questions here, but you have enough of proof to prove that, yes, you can absolutely do this. And then I will go to the questions that Qonto team actually sent me, not to jump off around the chat. Common difficulties. What are the common difficulties people face they make when setting up self-employed business? Honestly, I'm super motivated to tell you something about accounting and taxes because that's my business. A few years ago, banking was a major problem. It was hard for a micro business to open a bank account, but Qonto solved it. So banking, I wouldn't also mention. Here, I would say actually finding your first customers and getting to the first revenue will be the biggest headache by far. So Everything else is solvable. Keep your receipts, document everything, as I mentioned, for Joy, and do your taxes on time. There is no rocket science. Yes, it's not pleasant to do or fun to do, but there is no rocket science. Everyone managed to do so. You will also manage to do so. There is no problems there. The problem is to actually get your first customers, and then grow your business and leave the client name realm, maybe hire some employees, invite them to Qonto and stuff. So I would focus more on growing the business, less on this paper stuff, to be politically correct. Okay, some other questions that are considering tax, health insurance. Taxes and health insurance, does it make sense to financially get a part-time job plus freelance on the side, or be full-time freelancer self-employed? The answer is actually the same as was for me, at least as was from the previous question. Depends on the business. If you have enough clients and revenue to support your, first of all, livelihood, family, or other obligation that you can have, rent in Berlin, wherever. And secondly, if you don't need to work, then yes, you can absolutely be full-time self-employed, and you will be able to cover health insurance and stuff. If not, ideally you can start part-time working or full-time working and part-time side hustling, freelancing until your business grows. But an important comment here is that wherever you do, you have to actually notify your health insurer. So they need to know that your income will increase or already increased, and based on that they still can increase your health insurance payments and ask you to pay more, or sometimes less, but I don't think it's real. So actually, don't think that, oh, I have this work insurance, it will drive through my self-employment. No, they will actually ask you to pay more or pay additionally, or change the type of reinsurance if your incomes increases. That's usually the game. Do you recommend getting a tax advisor or accountant, or should we be able to do these ourselves using Qonto Norman? Well, you can do both, and what I usually recommend is to start yourself, and maybe take tax advisory when you need it, and then you will understand. When the business grows and you will start having employees, I don't know, a ton of clients, huge revenues, complex international FX, like currency exchanges, or international customers, complicated VAT problems on the sales to the US, maybe yes, at this point it's a strong yes to get a tax advisor. If you're just starting now and you're a client entrepreneur, your actual bill to a steuerberater will be similar to other entrepreneurs, and it will be a lot. So maybe you can start actually yourself, and then when your business grows and can cover these additional costs, you can employ someone for full-time, or you can just like pay them 150 or 200 euros for an hour of tax advice whenever you need it. Cool. Dorian, do you see anything that you want to take? Or
yes, I've started answering some of the questions in the chat directly.
Okay.
So let's see if I missed anything. For those
maybe something relevant to everyone here.
Yeah, there are several languages available of of the product, so you can switch. If you're not fluent in German, that doesn't mean you can't use it. What else? Yes, all our plans support uploading and managing receipts. We didn't talk about our plans much, but for you, the most interesting is our lowest, the basic plan at this point. And once you scale, the difference is basically how many transactions you need per month, and how many sub accounts, etc. At a certain size of business, you'll have a key account manager, which at this point maybe might not be necessary. Did we have anything else? We did mention the payment links. The health insurance, I think we talked about, right? Accounting for that.
And also, I'm not a huge expert on health insurance, so I won't go deep into this topic. Just a disclaimer. I know some basic things that you need to notify your health insurer, but there, especially when there is like oh, my partner is insured, we have kids, and I also want to start self-employment, but have a mini job. Like I can't, I'm not knowledgeable enough. Sorry.
Yeah.
I see a question from Phuket.
But about the health insurance, basically all health insurances will come up with a document at the end of the year of summing up what you've paid, and they usually automatically send it to the Finanzamt. But in any case, they will also sum up where to fill it in and your tax declaration, actually in which line they even say that, and then you can deduct it. Make sure it's recorded. What else do we have?
Yeah, question about the other tax deduction as a freelance designer. Honestly speaking, for most digital professions, there is not much you can usually deduct because you don't have like this physical investments in materials or, I don't know, physical space. You don't usually need a whole office or storefront or anything, coffee beans, what have you. So it's more on the software side, on the side of your home office, on the side of your equipment if you needed to buy at least like graphical tablet or a new screen or need to do advertisements, but a part of it there are not many tax deductions that you can actually make, but it's a good thing just to learn a broader list, so you will just like as doing your business as normal, you'll understand, oh, I could actually deduct that, or oh, I could actually invest here and it will help me grow, and I'll say save some profits for myself as well.
Exactly. So did we miss anything else? I think features of submitting tax declarations. Yeah, obviously feel free to use Norman. I think it's made. It's tailored for self-employed. To be fair, there are other solutions out there. Obviously, bookkeeping tools mainly have a direct connection to the Finanzamt. We have integrated the main ones for the German market. If you're based and registered in a different market, we might do it there too. But yeah, here we're talking about Germany. Yes, that is the answer for that, I think. Am I missing anything else? We can't see the questions. Okay, good to know. Let's see if I answered something. Someone asked, are we integrated with Deutsche Bank? Yes, we are. You can connect to Deutsche Bank and you can connect it to the Qonto account and then automatically synchronize all transactions and balances. So it's cool to see it there. What else? The recording of this will be shared with you afterwards. I think some of the answers are not showing to the others. So what else? Yeah, we have several languages. We said that. What else? And yeah, for those, so maybe for those who missed it, let's show that screen again. Right here. If you are not registered yet as a self-employed person, you can do so on our website, and then when you do that, you will get Qonto for free in the beginning to start. See if it's any good for you. Most people like it. You might stay, and you will get 50 euros on your account to start your business. So make sure you use this code. This is how you do it. Sometimes can be hard to find, but even if you've already set up the account, don't worry, you still have 30 days to put this in as a new customer, the promo code, and you will get the money. So yeah, you will find it here in the settings, billing and invoices. But there's also a window once you start setting it up, you to put in the voucher code. So yeah, keep that in mind. And the other questions, we covered that. Yeah, this is the link. If you want to, this is the direct URL. So for those of you interested, this is completely free to sign up as a freelancer or a self-employed person. So we obviously hardly recommend to do. We really recommend to do this because there are a lot of tips as you go through the flow. Yeah, it's yeah, it's a great thing to do. You get the $50 on top. If you have any questions that come up after this call, please feel free to reach out to us. These are our email addresses. You can also scan this QR code and you will get there directly. And I think we've reached an hour. I think your lunch break's over. Hope you had some good coffee, or if not, get some now, or tea, or iron. I think we covered most of the questions. If we find some questions that we haven't covered, then no worries. We'll reach out to you afterwards if we missed it now. I don't think we have. So thanks a lot for joining. Yeah, much success with setting up your business to be a freelancer and maybe a business someday. Who knows? Hope you had fun. Peter, any last words?
No, good luck on entrepreneurial journey. The biggest issues and think you should think about are only about customers and revenues. Forget about this tax crap. It's all manageable. we care about it, but it's all manageable. So think about the business.
Okay, then thanks everyone, and have a good rest of the week. All right.